Welcome back to the Hoss garden. Look at this Seminole sweet corn. We have about 60 rows that are 50 feet long. Today I'm going to show you how I process this corn by using the pressure canner. Now we've already done about 55 quarts frozen, and this is my first time canning. Now Greg normally shucks this, but I'm going to shuck a few today just to show you how pretty it is. I shuck from the top down, trying to get all those silks off. He cuts the bottom off and then shucks it and leaves way more silks, but then he's not the one silking either. Now when I silk it, I use this brush that we have in our shop, and it has really soft bristles. Any brush that you use, you want to make sure the bristles are soft so that the kernels are not punctured when you're trying to get those silks off. Now the ideal corn for canning is the normal sugary or the sugar enhanced. The super sweets tend to brown when canned due to those high sugar levels. The kernels on the ear corn should be tender and puncture really easy with your fingernail. Now when you harvest this corn, you want to try to observe it the day you harvest it, because the longer you wait, the sugars will start breaking down. So if you can't harvest it and preserve it the same day, just be sure you have enough room in your fridge to stick it in there overnight or however long you need to, so that it doesn't start breaking down. So after I get all this silked, I'll take it in the kitchen and I'll wash the corn under clean running water, remove any remaining husk, and I like to cut the tip off so that it's easier when removing that kernel. Now blanching is not required for this raw pack method, but because I'm not going to process it until tomorrow, I'm going to blanch it. You can blanch it two ways. You can just leave it on the cob, blanch it, and then cut it off, or you can cut it off and blanch it after you cut it off the cob. Now, you can use any tool to cut this off the cob. You do not need anything special, just a sharp knife will do. I prefer this Pampered Chef tool. It keeps me from cutting too deep, because if you cut too deep, sometimes it can be kind of cobby. Now you'll need a pressure canner to process this corn. Corn is one of those low acidic vegetables, and you can only get to the 240-degree temp needed to kill bacteria by using a pressure canner. Now cut these kernels about 2/3 to 3/4 deep. Again, if you cut it too deep, it can become kind of cobby. Now you can cut this corn off all kind of ways. I like to do it from the end downward. My mother and grandmother do it totally different. Again, I blanch this corn in the microwave because I'm not going to can it till tomorrow. I usually do it in a large mixing bowl on 10 minutes at 50% power. Now look at how it changes color once it's blanched. That's normal, and it stops the enzymatic process. Now I'll also get my jars ready, wash them in some hot soapy water, rinse them really well, and inspect them for any cracks, chips, and only use jars that are designated for canning due to the high temperature that they're going to be at, and they don't break easy. I'm going to add 1/2 teaspoon of salt. This is totally for flavor. It's not required. It is optional. If you were doing quarts, you would want to add 1 teaspoon. Now I'm going to just place these kernels in my jars, and you want to leave about 3/4 to 1 inch headspace. Corn tends to expand more than other vegetables, so you might have to leave a little bit more. I think I'm really going to enjoy this corn. It's going to be so handy to toss in a salad, a stew, a soup, or chili, or just eat it with some butter on the side. Now once you have it packed in there, I'm going to add warm water, again leaving about 3/4 to 1 inch headspace. Once you have this water in there, you want to use a butter knife or something to debubble it. Make sure that any air bubbles that might have got trapped in there are removed. And it's best not to use metal, but this is all I have today. Then you want to make sure you wipe and clean your rims off so that nothing interferes with getting that good seal. After you went to all this trouble, you don't want anything messing that seal up. Put your clean bands and lids on finger tight. You don't want to tighten them too tight because that'll cause bulking under that high pressure. Place them in your canner, put your lid on securely, turn your burner on high, and wait for that steam to start coming out of the vent. Once it starts steaming, time it for 10 minutes, and then put your weight on and watch for it to come up to 11 pounds of pressure for 55 minutes. After it's processed for 55 minutes, let it go back to 0, take your weight off, take your lid off, and you want to place them on your kitchen counter on a dish towel for 12 to 24 hours. I am so excited about doing this from our first year. Now, I've always have put up some corn in soup, but I've never just done strictly corn. And I don't have to worry about the electricity going off. Think about all the space I'm going to save in my freezer. And this is going to be shelf stable for several years if stored properly. I am just really excited. I kind of wish Greg had some more corn so that I could do some more. Now, after it's set for 24 hours, you want to check the seal just by removing the band and lifting with your fingertips to make sure that jar is sealed. And one of the most important steps is to label that jar and especially put the year on it that you did the processing.